friends, old and new. Today, we're going to be answering your questions. Recently, there have been a lot of updates, and I've talked with you guys on social media and in the comment section about doing a kind of a life update, channel update video soon. So I thought this would be a good time to do my first Q&A. I put out a call for questions in an Instagram story, and I received a surprising amount of questions. I didn't expect that many, and some really good ones, some fun ones and some thoughtful ones. Then I decided to reach out to the YouTube community via the community tab on the YouTube channel, because I know not all of you have Instagram or check it all the time, and when you post an Instagram story, it disappears after 24 hours. So I posted in the community tab and opened it up for questions there and received a nice amount of questions there as well. So thank you very, very much to everyone who submitted questions, whether through an Instagram story or on YouTube in the community tab. I really appreciate you guys caring enough to give your feedback and giving me some fun questions to answer. Much of what I was going to talk about in a life and channel update anyway is kind of addressed in these questions, so it'll all kind of flow together, and hopefully I'll answer other people's questions because some were repeated with slightly different wording, so that shows me that multiple people may be wondering about these things. With that, we're gonna go ahead and get right into the questions. I basically put them in a Word document that's open right in front of me. I put the Instagram questions first and then the YouTube questions. I'll go through them and answer them. And if you guys have questions or follow up on this, leave them in the comments below. And what I'll do is I'll save those in a Word document for the next Q&A. Geeky Pete asked, what was your first Disney ride? I've lived in Florida my whole life, which kind of leads into the update and leads into everything else. I grew up in Miami, Florida, so I've been going to Disney World for as long as I can remember and before I can remember. When you live a few hours away from Disney World, it becomes sort of a normal place to go for family vacation. And then as a teenager, when I had a car, sort of weekend getaways once I was old enough, and into adulthood, as you all know, my Disney love has continued. So going back to Geeky Pete's question, the first Disney ride that I remember is Haunted Mansion. And you know, memory is a funny thing. Over time it changes. But I remember that memory, I've talked about this in some podcasts recently, of riding the Haunted Mansion for the first time and being really scared and wanting to sit in the middle of the Doom Buggy. I didn't want to be on either side because I was scared a ghost would reach out and touch me. And I remember sort of covering my eyes and like peeking through and being scared. And then I remember getting off and being like, I loved that, can we do it again? And it's been my favorite ride ever since. I'm sure there are other memories buried in there of rides before, like Spaceship Earth and earlier rides, but that's the first one that's clear in my memory. Taste of Massachusetts asked, what is my favorite Star Trek version and characters? I am a Next Generation fan. I like Star Trek in general, like I love the worlds, I love the characters, I love the ideas, and the hopeful vision of the future of humanity. Picard has always been my favorite character and my favorite captain. That's another question later, funny enough. I also love Beverly Crusher. She is a favorite forever. Harjan789 asked, are you moving to England? No, I am staying in Florida. I am a native Floridian, lived here my whole life. I love Florida. I have no plans of moving out of Florida. It doesn't mean I never will live other places, you never know, but as of now, I definitely have no plans of living anywhere but Florida. Luke Sams 97 asks, will you be going to any UK theme parks when they open up for the season? Yes, definitely. You guys know on my recent trip back in September, I went to Thorpe Park in the UK and I went to Disneyland Paris. And on the December trip, we just went to Winter Wonderland in London. Those are the only, I think, theme park, amusement parks I've been to abroad so far. But you guys know that Alton Towers is very high on my list. Efteling is very high on my list. There are so many wonderful places, not just theme parks, but cities and places that I want to explore and will explore all around the world. But yes, this summer, maybe sometime between May and July, I'm not exactly sure yet, still planning, I'll be heading out to the UK again. And that answers a few of the other questions coming up as to when is my next UK trip. It's gonna be sometime in the summer, maybe May, June, or July. Hopefully, if everything goes according to plan, we'll be going to Alton Towers that trip because Wicker Man is waiting. Lewis954 asks, tell us a little about yourself, background, etc. I've talked a little bit about myself here and there and other similar videos to this, and kind of like sprinkled throughout my live streams and my videos. I've told you guys that I've lived in Florida my whole life. I grew up here. I've talked before about how I have a master's degree and I studied sociology and anthropology, and I'm very interested in history and still love to learn and read and stay up on the field as much as possible. And it partly feeds into my love of interesting subcultures and even fandoms, really. Like, you can be part of a fandom but still also find it an interesting sociological and anthropological phenomenon. I've talked before also about how I used to be in indie bands and travel around the country, basically in a car filled with instruments, playing shows night after night all over the country in small towns like Wonder Lake, up all the way in the furthest northwest of the country, Vashon Island. I've been to Laramie, Wyoming, all sorts of towns all over the country. It was an awesome experience and lent itself into my love of not just travel, but traveling by road trip, traveling on the ground, on the streets of America, because you see things you wouldn't otherwise see. You interact with people you wouldn't otherwise interact with. You have experiences that you just would not have otherwise. It's something I want to do more of. I definitely have a giant list of future road trips planned, and this time I'll be vlogging them. So you guys will get to come along for some of those experiences. What else can I say besides the fact that obviously I love theme parks, I love to travel, I love to learn new things, I love to try interesting foods, meet new people, have new experiences. I love to see updates and all the cool things going on. Lauren's Travels asks, what are your goals for this year? That's a great one, Lauren. My goals for 2020, one of the big goals was this big move that I just undertook and accomplished. Yay! I've moved, I'm pretty settled in. As you can see though, the wall behind me is pretty empty. All I have is this so far. I don't have a lot going on behind me yet, but I have the things that I want there sort of tucked to the side. So as I slowly kind of work on things and decorate things, you'll see this area around me get more cool with time. But definitely, as always, my goals are to keep growing, keep learning, keep improving at my craft, like here, making these videos, blogging more and writing more. Also just to make more videos and better videos. I've always been a quality over quantity person with anything I do. I've been doing like 2 a week because that's what I felt I could do and put out a product that is the best quality that I could do at any given time. Now that I'm here and I'm closer to a lot of the things that I cover, and also it's easier to get out of Florida from here. Like a road trip to New Orleans or Georgia is a weekend trip now, whereas before it was much more of an ordeal being further down in Florida. I can do more with less time. In that light, my goal is to now up to 3 a week, but maintain and improve quality. I don't want to just stay the same. I want to keep improving. St. Og Fortune Teller asks, do you ever get tired of traveling? No, I really don't get to travel anywhere near as often as I would like to because I work. When I do travel, that is the time off that I acquire and request and use my vacation time that, you know, people earn by working. So I use my time accordingly, but you know, I have to, like anyone else, I have to plan, I have to save, budget, request days off, do all the things people have to do. So traveling is still a big deal and takes a lot of planning. So it's not something I can do as often as I would love to travel more, actually, much more than I do. So no. I haven't been able to get tired of it because I don't get to travel enough. Lisa McBrayer also asked about when I'd be going back to the UK, and as I mentioned, I'll be going back this summer. Davey51 asked a similar question. My friend Dawn, just out and about, asked, still moving to Orlando? Yes, Dawn, I am here. I've moved to Orlando. JJF7661 asked, so are you and Sam Expedition Theme Park officially a thing? Don't have to answer. Thanks for asking and thanks for saying that. Yes, we're officially a thing. SJ Bear 99 asked, what are you most excited for in the coming year or two? Oh my gosh, that is a tough question. I'm excited for so many things. I'm excited to learn and grow and keep doing fun things. I'm excited to travel. I'm excited to try to get to Tokyo Disneyland, more UK trips. I'm excited for like things that are opening here, like the new coasters, Icebreaker and Iron Gwazi. I'm excited for like in 2 weeks when Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway opens, all the new stuff that's opening here. I'm excited to explore more of Florida and more of the United States and everywhere as I travel and learn. I'm excited for all the possibilities. Rev Andy asked, what was the favorite part of my most recent trip to London? Oh my gosh, that's really hard. I'd say New Year's Eve. Seeing the fireworks on New Year's Eve and just the whole experience and excitement of that night was just an incredible, unforgettable experience. Winter Wonderland was so awesome. I mean, if we're talking about outside of London, going to Stonehenge and Avesbury was by far my favorite part. Well, the Roman baths were pretty awesome too. I don't know the whole thing. Ice Cold 023 asked, rides, shows, bars, restaurants, or festival, what do you enjoy the most at Walt Disney World and which one? That's a tough question. I'd say, to be perfectly honest, rides. I love rides. I also love ambiance. I just love the atmosphere of being in highly themed places with music and sounds and smells, places that engage all the senses and touch on your memories and feelings. DVC Dank asked, how did you get your first 100 subscribers? I think when you first start, when you're starting from zero, the first thing most of us do is ask some of our friends and families to subscribe to us. There is no shame in that. When you're starting from zero, you're like, hey mom, can you subscribe to my YouTube channel? Like that is just, how else can you start? You start by asking friends if they'd be interested in checking out your channel. I basically just focus on doing what I'm passionate about and making the best videos that I can. But of course I do think about like what keywords are gonna do best to try to get this in front of the most people who might enjoy it as possible. So like using appropriate keywords and covering topics that may be interesting to a lot of people. One Man's Dream asked, is Veronica your favorite possum or Lester? Be honest. If I have to be honest, definitely Veronica. All right, let's move on to some more. We're getting through this. Magic in Michigan asked a series of questions. How do you stay so happy and enthused? Obviously, I'm not always happy and enthused. You know, I'm a human being, but I think I just have a general baseline of being like this. It's just who I am. Pizza or tacos? I love both, but pizza wins every time. Are you from Florida? Yes, I am a native Floridian, lived here my whole life. Do you ever feel weird vlogging in public? Yes. You do get used to it and it kind of becomes second nature. So like I don't really sit there thinking about like, oh, this is so weird, this is so weird. But like, yeah, it does feel weird. One of the ways that I personally have helped to mitigate that is by trying to be like as considerate as humanly possible of other people. Like I try so hard to be considerate when I am out in public, to not be obnoxious, to not be in people's way, to not be like talking over people, to not like get in front of people or get in people's way. I understand that a lot of the places I go are tourist attractions and people are there on vacation. So me just trying to like kind of stay out of the way, not be too loud, not get in front of people, not be disruptive or rude to anyone. I don't know, for some reason it just makes me feel better and it makes me feel less weird. How often do you run into fans? Do you do meetups? I actually more and more often am meeting people in the parks who come up to me and are super nice and say they enjoy the videos, and I really, really appreciate that. Like, you guys are so sweet. That really means a lot to me. Whenever it happens, I'm like, oh, thank you so much. It's really heartwarming and really nice to meet people and make friends and like, I don't know, it's just really cool. It's like this big community that we've built up. I love it. So if you see me, please do say hi. And if you want to like take a pic or whatever, I'll love that. Have you ever stolen one of Nate's hats? Duh, wouldn't you? But I always give them back. John Venta asked, do you ever get to enjoy the parks without vlogging? Of course, John. What do you think this is? Most of the time that I'm in the parks and out and about, I'm not vlogging. What you see is a very small percentage of days when I plan to go out and make a video. One thing I don't do is just go around and just flap the camera around and film whatever. Like sometimes I'll just film like fun day doing whatever, but that's very rare. I usually have a purpose, a subject matter that I'm trying to show you guys. Now, what happens in the process of that is always the natural progression, natural reactions, and authentic. But there's like a focus for the video. I want my videos to have a purpose, obviously, and be helpful. And whether or not you're interested in the subject, hopefully you're still entertained. But for the people who do want to learn about an event, like see what Mardi Gras is like at Universal, learn how you can ride a parade float and throw beads, which I showed in a recent video, or learn what kind of stuff is available at a festival at Epcot or SeaWorld or wherever, Busch Gardens, whatever. I want to show you the actual like events or the subject matter that I choose. Like during a really hot time of year, if I'm showing you ways to stay cool, things like that. Like I have a subject and I only film kind of like as we're going along what makes sense. I'm not just filming willy-nilly every single thing. Also, I just go to the parks and not film a lot because I'm a fan of the parks. I love Disney, I love Disney World, I love Universal, I love SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, I love amusement parks, I love Renaissance festivals, I love comic conventions, I love all of it. Like what I'm showing you guys is what I genuinely am a fan of and I would be doing anyway, even if I wasn't making videos or blogging. Anthony Bomberry has asked about kind of like updates about my life in Orlando, which I'll be sharing as we move forward, and hopefully I'm addressing some of that throughout this video as well. Thank you so much, Anthony, for being there. Sorry this has taken so long. Donna Delhagen asked, I would like to know how you meet some of the other YouTubers like Nate and Adam. And do you know the WDW couple and the Trackers, other YouTubers? Thanks for the question, Donna. The way that I became friends with people like Nate, Veronica, Adam, Josh and Taylor, WDW couple, yes, I do know them, and yes, we're friends, is basically the way that a lot of people become friends. Because we all love the same things, we're all genuine fans of the things that we cover, and then we see each other over and over again. And then you just hit it off with certain people. You have a similar sense of humor, you like the same things, maybe you even dislike the same things, and you become friends. It's a very natural process. It's like anything, like people you work with or go to school with or in clubs with. You just see each other again and again, you start chatting and you just get along. Doe Jeff asks, I just want to know, are you having fun? Because it sure looks like it. Your videos are awesome. Thanks, Doe Jeff. I am. I really, really am. John M. asked, I'd like to know if you ever worked at Disney World since you grew up in Florida. Thanks, you have a great channel. Thanks, John. No, I never worked at Disney World. I've thought about it. You never know because Disney does have a lot of departments and careers, but it's kind of like Disney is like my happy place and it's where I go to like be free and enjoy myself and just revel in the creativity and the Imagineering and how things work and what the updates are. And like, I don't know, I feel like if I worked there, it'd be like, work? I could be wrong because I know people who work there and they still love going in their off time, but I don't know. One Sean Bond asked, when are you coming to Canada again and where would you like to see? I don't know. I might go to Toronto to visit at some point. My last trip to Canada was the Nova Scotia trip and it was so awesome. I would love to go back to like the New Brunswick area and see more that I didn't get to see. I don't have a trip planned right now, but you can bet if I do, you'll be the first to know. Grubbyville, my friend Tommy said, Dollywood, Dollywood, when are you coming to Dollywood? Would you ride the famous Tennessee Tornado roller coaster with me? I want to go to Dollywood so much. Maybe this summer? Now I'm a lot closer to it. Like a drive up there isn't so bad now, so hopefully soon. Knock on my wood desk in front of me. Anthony Bomberry, who I mentioned earlier, asked about a video of Miss Jackie's life. I've thought about this and ways to kind of share more bits of my life with you guys, and I have ideas, but they haven't solidified yet. So it's not that I'm not thinking about it, and it's not that it's not something I'm going to do. It's just, I'm not exactly sure how I want to do it yet. But now that I'm more settled, let's see how much of that we can share. And if you have more specific things you want to see, let me know so that I can kind of like formulate that a little better, so like how that would look. Jennifer Milano said, love you, Jackie. I think you are truly awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. Love you too. Ted Wu says, your channel is awesome. Keep up the great work. Any plans to come back to the West Coast and visit Disneyland? Thank you, Ted. Yes, yes, and more yes. Definitely I'll be back to visit Disneyland and the West Coast and do a lot of things. I'm looking at a potential like around Augusty trip. So hopefully I'll be heading out to Disneyland and Knott's around August and some other things in the area. Savage Mister asked, I have one. When are you gonna take me to beep Disney? When you come to Orlando, that's when. Golly, so savage. Jedi Kiss Rock says, have fun, my friend. Thank you. Elvis Austin asks, so wondering when are you going to come to the Blue Ridge Mountains and see West Virginia? I've been before and I absolutely love it, but I've never vlogged it, so it's definitely on the list. I don't know exactly when, but I for sure will. Just beautiful, beautiful area and something I definitely want to make some videos about. Dude Man 1981 asks, I know you're more of a Star Wars fan, but I gotta know what you think, Kirk or Picard, and why. Safe travels and thank you for all your positive vlogs. Thanks, Dude Man. I already addressed this earlier. I love Star Wars and Star Trek. I love both of them, but I am the next generation fan and Picard is my captain. Rob Adventures asks, would you explore Southwest Florida and do other videos around the state? Love your videos and work. See you in the next vid, Rob. Thanks, Rob. I always appreciate your comments. Yes, definitely. So you guys know, or you may not know, that I've done some videos in the Everglades and down south in Florida, but Southwest, definitely like Sarasota, more of the west part of the Everglades, areas that I've been in the past but I've never made videos about, and places that I haven't been yet. I would love to go, have adventures, have fun, make videos, show you guys those areas. So the answer is yes. And the final question for this video is gonna be from my day off. I have one. Are you always tired from balancing work life and park going? Because I am, LOL. And how do you deal? Do you ever want to live in Orlando? So part of this I've already answered. Yes, I did want to live in Orlando because now I do live in Orlando. All of these years I've lived in Miami, Florida, about 4 hours south of Orlando. Now I live here. It is wonderful. I love it. I felt like this was home long before I actually moved here permanently, and it feels very much like home. I'm very, very happy here. And yes, I do get tired, but you kind of like when you love something and you're very passionate about it, you can kind of run on that passion and your enthusiasm and energy. It's funny how when it's something tedious or boring that I don't want to do, I can easily be like, ugh, I'm too tired, I don't want to do that. But when it's something fun or awesome, like do you want to go to a theme park or a festival or do some cool local thing, I'm like, I feel great, let's go do that. So it's amazing how much just like passion and enthusiasm give me energy and give me life. Doing the things I love is like my font of energy, and that's my resource that I draw from. I'm very happy to say that I am much less tired now that I live here because I'm cutting out that 4-hour drive here and 4-hour drive home almost every weekend that I was doing. It's been my own choice to do that because I love it, because it made me happy to do. And I'm very grateful that I was able to do that while I was making all the plans with like work and saving and logistics to move. And I'm very, very grateful to be here now. And I'm working just as hard as ever, but just cutting that drive out and being here has saved me so much time and energy, and I'm getting so much more sleep. I feel so rested. I feel like the most rested I've felt in over a year. It's wonderful. So I think that about covers most of the questions that I'm able to answer right now. I hope that gives you guys a little bit of like a life update of what's going on with me. I'd love to know what you thought of this, if this format is good for you. And if you have more questions for me to add to like a future Q&A, I'll kind of stockpile them in a Word document and answer them later. Or follow-ups to the things I talked about today that I can just answer really quick in the comments. That's cool too. Also, if I were to do more videos like this, like in my home, talking to you guys about topics, what sort of topics would you guys be interested in hearing about? Because I'd love to share more. And like I've said over and over, my list of the ideas of the kind of videos that I'd like to make is just never ending, always growing, both like out and about videos and home videos talking to you guys about topics where I kind of like insert clips that have to do with the topics to kind of make a nice little narrative. I'm very interested in how things work in rides and mechanics and shows and elements of theming. I'd love to learn and talk more about that. But I'm also interested in like news and updates and stuff that's going on. And I know a lot of people already do theme park news and updates. So I've toyed a lot with like, what can I add to the conversation that would be helpful to you guys? So if you have any suggestions or thoughts about that, let me know what you think. I already kind of have something formulated in my head that I think would work, whereas it's like my updates for stuff that I'm looking forward to, because I often share events after they happen. So they do help because they're like often long ongoing events. So if you're coming to it, I try to do it as early as possible. So if it's like a 2-month event, you still have time to plan for it, or if you're planning for next year, because a lot of people plan their Florida trips or travel to the UK or other places I go well in advance. You know, you can be planning for next year. But I thought it'd be cool to like, I don't know, once a month or once every few months, do a kind of like, what's coming up in Orlando to help people plan and like what they want to do. Like talk about new stuff in the parks, but also like festivals and cool local stuff. It would take some time and some research to put together how I want, but let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in. Thank you guys so much for submitting questions to me. If I didn't get to your question, please let me know in the comments again so I can save it for the next one, because I think I got over 50 questions and I don't think I answered 50 today. So if I missed yours and you would still like it answered, please let me know in the comments and I'll save it for the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed this update. I hope this answered questions, whether you asked or not, and gave you some interesting info and helps you to get to know me better. I love getting to know you guys through your comments to me on the videos and like comments on social media and stuff. We have a really fun, enthused community here. You guys are a lot of fun. I really appreciate you. I have some really unique and fun stuff I'm doing this weekend. One of them is the Orlando Wine Festival, and I've shared it around on social media, but just in case you want to attend that, if you use the discount code SUPER in all caps, you get $5 off. That's gonna be held at Icon Park at the Orlando Eye. 2020 is looking to be an exciting year for us. We have Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway opening soon. We have Icebreaker opening at SeaWorld. We have Iron Gwazi opening at Busch Gardens. We have so many changes going on at Epcot. We have all sorts of festivals coming up. I kind of like want to keep them a surprise, so just trust me, there's a lot of cool stuff in and out of the theme parks and some fun travels here. I talked about planning a trip to the UK this summer, planning a trip out to Disneyland in California later in the summer, early fall. Tokyo Disneyland is forever high on the list. I'm not sure if that's gonna happen in 2020 or 2021, but that's in the works. And of course, there are so many cool things that come up unexpectedly, like a random trip to Dollywood could come up, a random weekend drive to New Orleans could come up. All sorts of fun things probably on the horizon. And I do listen to you guys' feedback, so please keep it coming. Just a few quick plugs, just in case you didn't know. I do have t-shirts with this design on them and some other designs on them. They're on the Teespring Super Enthused store. They're linked underneath the channel, or you can just like Google Super Enthused Teespring and find them there. Any shirts you buy help, and the proceeds go towards the channel, improving the qualities. Plus it's just cool, and like I really appreciate you guys sporting Super Enthused when you're out and about, just showing your like super enthusiasm. Super Enthused does have a Patreon. I really never talk about it or promote it, but I just want to let you guys know it's there. If you would like to contribute and help with a recurring $1 or $2 or $5 donation monthly, it all goes into the channel. Like it all goes into improving the channel, improving the things I can do, and giving back to you guys. If you're interested in that, the Patreon link is around on the channel, or you can just Google Super Enthused Patreon. And of course, I'm on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. So if you look for Super Enthused on Instagram, the Super Enthused page on Facebook, or the Twitter, and follow them, that would be awesome, because I post more stuff there, behind the scenes stuff, fun conversations, and just to build those up. Yes?
How's it going?
I'm almost done.
Okay.
I'll be out in a minute. Sam's calling, so I gotta go. Thank you guys again for watching. I will see you very, very soon for the next adventure. If you somehow stumbled across my channel and this is the first video you're seeing, most of the videos I do are like travel vlogs, out and about. But once in a while, I do something at home like this. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you subscribe and stick around. So thanks again for the billionth time. I'll see you guys really, really soon. And as always, stay enthused.